Hello everyone, today I am continuing my top 10 SpongeBob episodes. We are in the top 5 now, starting with Fear of a Krabby Patty. This is the first season 4 episode on this list. Oh wait, the second season 4 episode on this list, and it's the first top 5 episode of the show. It's an amazing start to the 4th season. And then people say when this episode aired, SpongeBob just lost its magic. Well, people as in sponge boomers and nostalgia gatekeepers. But this is a really nice start to the 4th season, as I said. I do have nostalgia for this season because I very clearly remember the scene where the montage of SpongeBob making Krabby Patties and floating behind the background we see in every SpongeBob episode. You know, Bikini Atoll. Night and day. It goes back and forth. And SpongeBob's dream sequence where this Krabby Patty gives him the cookie pizza and the chocolate milk. It gives an odd sense of nostalgia rewatching this. And I already said why, so yeah. But I also have nostalgia for another season 4 episode on this list. It's actually right above this one, but I will talk about that once we get to the second. To get to the 4th, let's place her. But as for the plot, Plankton decides to manipulate Mr. Krabs into working his employees into the ground. His words, not mine. And once SpongeBob's mind finally cracks, he'll tell him the secret Krabby Patty formula. This is probably his most complex scheme ever, other than the first movie, of course. This episode, of course, came right after the movie. And it starts off with Plankton, oddly enough, even though he was arrested in the movie, at like the end of the movie. So Mr. Krabs obviously changes the time to 24 hours. And then we get the montage, as I said. And then SpongeBob finally goes crazy after 43 days. Like, the guy who stayed awake for the most time was I think 2 weeks. This is over a month. This is probably Mr. Krabs at his worst and best because well, he's doing very despicable actions, but best because it's funny. Other episodes in season 6 to 8 will just have Mr. Krabs do this just because, or well, capitalism. But this is season 4 and they don't play that. So when SpongeBob's mind cracks, he goes to see Dr. Peter Langton, which, should I mention, Plankton went under the guise of Peter Langton after ordering 10,000 patties, which no one could eat that much food ever. Like, I think you'd die before even getting to the 500th patty. So that's an overload of carbs, fat, and salt, and pepper. Oh, it's overdosing on a lot. And it's red meat, so probably. Anyway, SpongeBob goes to see Mr. Peter Langton. And this is the best part of the episode. As I mentioned, I have nostalgia for this particular scene. Of course, we get things such as the piano and just this scene. I'm about to recap it here. So, it goes something like... Plankton says he wants SpongeBob to think of the first thing that pops into his head when he says a certain word. And he says, grill, spatula, bun. You see, the key is to say something different than what I say. Oh, okay. Potato, tomato. That's funny. It's like this. I can't decide what the best joke is. They're all great. So Plankton lays out cards for SpongeBob. SpongeBob tells him to back up because he's nervous. And then he arranges the cards into a piano. And then he crushes Plankton for the second time. And then Plankton finally uses hypnosis, which cues the dream sequence. After trying to wake SpongeBob up, we get to see the actual dream sequence. So SpongeBob just goes along his day trying to catch jellyfish. And then the giant Krabby Patty catches him with a giant jellyfishing net, eats him, and then he finds himself in his bedroom, and then the Krabby Patty opens the door, walks to SpongeBob. He says and then it says, hi to SpongeBob. He heard his brain was sick, so he made a cookie pizza and gave him some chocolate milk. This finally cures SpongeBob of his fear of his Krabby Patty. Title drop. But and then he wakes up, goes back to work, and then the episode ends. So that's fear of a Krabby Patty. People underestimate how great this episode is. Like, I know it's the first post-movie episode, but season 4 is the most underrated season of the show. It gave us episodes like this, Mrs. Puff, You're Fired, and and the others I talked about in my season 4 overall thoughts video. There's a couple I'd add because I forgot to mention a couple, including the 2 that I mentioned. So I'll see you next time, which we have another season 4 episode coming up. Yeah, it's our 3rd one in a row. But for this one, I already said this, but every episode on this list gets a 10 out of 10. Bye.